Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 7, Day 3, and we're going to head over to North America for the Game of the Week.
Cog versus Enemy. Nope. Cloud9 versus Enemy.
Cloud9, 8 and 8.
That was the first time I've done that.
10 and 10, what?
I've called Cloud9
Said
Cog.
something wrong? That's a lie. You say it all the time. Well, as you can see, coming in hot, and your standings are up on your screen for North America, and you can see exactly what I was talking about. Enemy 10 and 10, starting in third position. Right behind them is Cloud9 with technically 2 sets in hand at the moment, but including this one today. This
is a good place for Enemy to keep their lead. Starting this off, a lot of people expected Elevate to be in the bottom. A lot of people expected Enemy to be right next to them, either below or above by 1 space. What has actually happened is they've fashioned themselves a 3rd seed. A few more key wins will earn them a trip to LAN.
And on top of this as well, Week 3 we saw these two face off against each other. And what ended up happening was this split down the middle at 1 and 1 as well. So pretty good from Enemy's point of view at the start of the season. Things have dipped since then. And now Cloud9, well, they had a dip start to the season, and now things are on the up.
So what happened here is they lost their solo laner. Omega decided he wanted a change of pace, moved to Eager, and they started running tryouts as soon as possible. And they found themselves fit with Baskin Robbins. Baskin trying to replace a very large hole left by Omega, given the fact that Omega helped them win the World Championship. Omega also one of the few people in the world that could hold tail with Divios and Cyclone Spin. Baskin is getting there. He's getting to that point where he can win those matches.
And MLC Stealth said himself they feel like they've found their own Cyclone Spin in Baskin, and sometimes during the games we've seen so far this season, he started to show that ability.
Yeah. I mean, Cyclone wasn't Cyclone at the very beginning. At the beginning of Split 1, they barely were winning games. In fact, when they beat Cloud9, it wasn't on Cyclone, it was 100% on Allied. It's when they went to LAN that he finally showed up.
Let's have a little look at Enemy, though, across the way. This was a team that was touted to be bottom, potentially, of the SPL this season. And with their new jungler, again, a few roster changes in this one. Adjust is now in here instead of Wiggles DeBay, who started off in that last game against Cloud9.
Wiggles, I think, defected to Xbox. I'm pretty sure is what happened, yeah.
Okay, well, he played a lot of Colin and very assassin-y junglers, and now we're going to see a Justin there who's had a very, very good season so far, and he had a good performance in the Challenger Cup. And since coming to this team, he's looked very strong as another threat from the jungle for them.
Yeah, Enemy brought him up from minors to try to replace the lost jungler. It's going to be a hard spot to fill. I don't think Wiggles was the best player on the team, but the chemistry seemed good. The Kali play was very strong, and he has maybe not huge shoes to fill. I mean, he's not like trying to be Baskin replacing Omega, but at the same time, going from minors to Pro League that quickly can be pretty daunting.
Now, the one game that Cloud9 last won against Enemy, we did see Andinster pick up Arachne in the jungle. Will we see it again?
No.
Why?
Because it's bad.
But it worked. They won.
Who won?
Cloud9 won when they played with Arachne.
Yeah,
against
but
Enemy.
No.
Just throw the spice pick.
He's
it's
not
spicy enough. Okay, we'll find out.
$20.
20 bucks? Oh,
$100 bucks.
Gandhi tried to bet with me the other day.
$200 bucks.
Money. No.
I don't understand what you're saying. $300 bucks?
I don't even know what bucks are. I'm so confused right now. Pick some bands though. Hell banned out. Kepri banned out. Pretty standard bands.
They're deer.
They're deer.
Yeah.
I don't want to get 300 deers. Where have you got 300 deers?
It's not deers. It's deer. Capri got banned.
Yes, I just said that. And Geb has also been banned, and it's back over to Cloud9. Will they ban away Serqet or Janus?
It's going to be Sun Kong.
Ignore me completely and go with that one. So Janus and Serqet both left on the table, and we have seen both these sides draft Serqet before as well. Well, to be fair, Janus isn't one of the biggest go-tos, but Stealth can definitely play it as well as Enemy.
Enemy has first pick here, and it's going to be Serqet, no surprise. Now, this is going to be the jungle. Serqet doesn't really play any other roles. With that, it's going to go to their newest roster member, Adjust.
And Adjust, honestly, very aggressive in the jungle. His Hombats was one that was... Oh, he's always looking for responses immediately. Normally, he's been invaded. I've seen him multiple times invaded upon in previous games, but he'll go into the enemy jungle and look to steal back buffs and make a decent trade. So Serqet, very mobile, has a lot of ability, and there's a nice, safe pick for that mid lane, potentially, in New War for Stealth.
And Zeus is still banned, right?
Not sure, maybe.
Zeus is tournament banned? I'm thinking so, because of all players, I'm expecting MLC to want to play him the most.
Well, he's probably played him the most as well out of anybody in the pro scene.
I think he's the only one who's played him.
JeffHindla locked in there as well. Now, JeffHindla seems to be on the rise over in North America, not so much in EU, but we saw Snoopy start going to it. We saw Yannick when he was playing for TSM on that Hunter as well.
I still think Rama is
and now we've seen it climb back up.
The best.
Why are we seeing JeffHindla's rise, though?
I mean, it's all about carry, right? Cloud9 loves hyper carries.
Oh, talking about hyper carries, there's one going across the other way for Freya for Team Enemy locked in. And probably going to look to pick up their support here as well, more than likely.
Option to Enemy. Athena's still on the board. one of PainDeViande's most, I think, notable characters.
It's taking a long time, this right down to the very last second. And it's going to actually be Bellona locked in for them.
So Bellona getting picked here, super safe, right? There's nothing that you could say against it. I mean, she plays 2 roles. She plays them very well. She actually plays more than that. But for argument's sake, she's jungle solo. She plays them very well. You can put her pretty much anywhere and be happy. She fits onto any team comp, thanks to Eagles Rally being like one of the best moves, if not the best move in the game. Like, it's great. Like, she's just such a strong pick.
When we last saw the 2 solo laners here as well, Cloud9, Baskin did pick up KJumbhakarna and Hades, so went for magical route back then in week 3. Across the way, though, we saw Osiris and Sun Wukong picked up, so physical versus magical in the solo lane. And that Bellona, well, that could be for that solo lane. But more than likely with Serqet.
Thor going to be in the jungle, no doubt there. Ban phase. Actually, this is Baskin. That actually might be a solo Thor.
I guess a potential Bellona?
It's possible. Not a good idea, but it's possible. Athena gets banned away from C9.
Well, depending
I like
what
this.
enemy do here as well. Take into account that Bellona has been ran support over in EU quite a lot, and when it was ran support, they ran it with a Freya for the disarm ability.
That's true.
As well. It could potentially be there, but it's not necessarily 100% likely.
Athena getting taken away is smart. I just talked about the fact that Pain loves this character. Taking that away is great. Fenrir, definite comfort pick for Baskin Robbins. So being able to take that away is going to be helpful to enemy as well. Cloud9 has option here. More than likely going to be looking for support. With Athena, Geb, and Kepriol being taken away, a few things remain that are pretty choice. It's going to be Sobek.
Got to be Sobek locked in. That again, that's flex. It could be solo lane. It could be in the support.
I played with Jeff not too long ago, and he played like 3 Sobek games in a row.
I actually had the same experience, and he was playing a lot of Sobek. He played it in the Pro League last week as well. I believe against Denial and had a good game there too on it. So he started to feel the rise of Sobek, and take into account this is before we actually going to buff him as well. So we may even see him even more later on.
There he is. Now you can shut up.
So I'm just smiling. I've got no stop. KJumbhakarna finally making an appearance in the game. Potentially solo lane, potentially in the support role too. More than likely support role, but probably
shout outs to Peckies.
The very best setup ability in the game with that ultimate.
That's true. Yeah.
100%.
Nasha, same thing.
Nasha very, very similar. As is, technically, there's also one more which I can't remember the name of. Nasha's good, and...
Hey, look, somehow Janus made to last pick.
Now, the only problem with the KJumbhakarna there, that when you talk about setup, what's the setup for? There's nothing that's really going to set up. Janus isn't one of the best ones to try and set up
portal
damage for. Could drop him straight into a portal, I guess, into an unstable vortex is one thing, or into an Eagles Rally. But normally you're looking for like a Kraken. You're looking for a big burst of damage, an Agony Bomb, something along those sort of lines.
Osiris gets locked in. Okay, so they're going to have 2 auto attackers on the side of Cloud9. Same thing on the side of enemy. Now, Osiris has a decent matchup against Bellona, neither of which clears super safely, but neither player also has a way of stopping the other. In the beginning, I'm going to give the advantage to Bellona here. Osiris definitely has a little bit more work to do. To the same regard, Xbalanque and Freya both have really terrible early games.
And to be fair, KJumbhakarna is going to have a little bit of an advantage over a Sobek in terms of wave clear. KJumbhakarna with that throwback, he can help clear the wave a little bit quicker to support that Freya. The only issue is if he uses the throwback to deal damage, it is also his escape, so it could put him in a bit of a tricky position.
So Khaos will spot the entirety of Cloud9 going to Ward, but Cloud9, I think, recognizes this, immediately backs off afterwards. Ward's getting placed down on all sides. Bellona slightly out of position here. She gets the ward down, it looks like, into speed buff. She'll be able to see builds. You'll note Andinster, no mana potions. Just has that red pot, and he's going to pop it right at 10 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like it. Across the way, though, adjust. It doesn't look like he went for the power pot start. I believe we just check in with Serqet and see if she did start it at the beginning of the game.
No, she has boots.
No, just went for the boots, yeah. Okay, so just went for the boost start instead, not going to go for the power option. Does that make sense? Because your Serqet and your early clear is not that great anyway, and it's not going to make that much of an impact?
I was kind of expecting to see a blink, actually.
Okay.
Usually we see Serqet go boots, blink, and 2 potions, but she's avoided that. She's just, it looks like banking gold. I think it's 1 and 1 potions. It's hard to see from here, but it looks like it just has 1 and 1, which means he should have a fair amount of gold left, about 300.
I'll just note as well, talking about blinks and the active, we do see KJumbhakarna picking this one up very early. PainDeViande with the aggressive early blink. It's one of the best setups with, obviously, the epic uppercut available to him to get in there and just instantly send someone to the skies to try and deal damage. But honestly, Nuwar's not one of the easiest targets to try and lock down with that ability.
You know what's crazy is when we started, you know, she was the character everyone looked at as a character that gets ganked way too easily. I think that kind of started out at the North American Regionals last year going into Worlds. You know, Dignitas, or, you know, now Eager, played that comp a lot, and every single time, you know, Divios and Gars were able to shut it down. Now it seems like she's getting picked because she's so safe. A rather strange turn of events.
I completely agree with that comment as well, because that realistically what's happened there is I think people have realized not to use the fire shards immediately when they get ganked, which is happening a lot. But talk about ganks, flip comes out from JeffHindla and PainDeViande in a lot of trouble there. Going to get, you have to use the throwback, and BaRRaCCuDDa going to turn his attention to Vetium. Good poke.
Smart.
By the Cloud9 team.
Had he continued aggressing into KJumbhakarna, what would have happened there is the Sleepy would have procced, and then maybe he would have taken 60% of his health, you know, because Freya is going to be swinging into him. By switching his effect right there to Freya, it's ensuring that she can't fight as freely, giving more free roam to JeffHindla to get around the map and control the middle lane if he needs to. This will also force away potions.
Not only that as well, there was a full minion wave coming in as well, so that would just add it to the extra possible pressure. And picking up a Sleepy, 8 hits early game, it's not that easy to really do if you've got no real attack speed at the start of the game.
We're still sticking in this duo lane. I wonder if Vetium's going to get aggressive here. Jeff starting to move forward. Not going to find the pluck.
I love how aggressive he's being, though. Straight in with a charge prey every single time, trying to put the pressure on as Baskin. Currently on the tower, trying to bring down a couple of those minions, but he's got 3 archers heading in there, too.
Saltmachine just missed a bludgeon?
It looked like he did.
I think he missed the slam portion. I think he didn't quite get into that tower fast enough. So he tried to avoid the tower damage, and because of that, Baskin didn't take another 50% of his remaining health.
Cloud9 went into the enemy jungle to steal away back Harpy's here, and they're going to find a Just, and Khaos looking to find out where they were. Just going to need just a single tap there as well, and then go to their jungle and probably find out that back Harpies are down. So Cloud9 with a small advantage in this mid and jungle role.
All right, Saltmachine has his ultimate over in the solo lane. Baskin-Robbins could be in some trouble here. As you'll note, he is stuck underneath his tower, just finally hitting level 5. At the same time, he's going to have to react frame perfectly to be able to get away.
Isn't it one of these situations where, you know, Osiris could ult first? Whoever holds the ult longest wins the engagement.
Yes, absolutely. The issue is that Baskin has to react perfectly. What we want to see is Saltmachine has to use Eagle's Rally in response to the Spirit Flail, you know, the wave clear. If he can do that, there won't be enough time for him to leave the ground before he takes the damage, and he'll wind up likely getting stunned. If he does it just raw, it's more than likely that Baskin will be able to react on time with Lord of the Afterlife.
And this is the only real time we're going to see a kill in this lane as well. If they're not going to see jungle pressure here, they're going to both slowly get tankier and tankier, which makes it very difficult to bring each other down in a 1v1. So this is the sort of prime opportunity where we may see a kill in that solo lane.
See, normally, like in the mid lane or in the duo lane, if someone makes a good play, it'll result in a kill. That's not how solo lane works. It's good play plus bad play equals kill.
Well, Baskin's in a bit of trouble here, and Saltmachine, I'm not sure if he's going to go all the way back here.
He has an ultimate here.
Just going all the way in
got
for this
it.
kick.
Guaranteed.
Going to push him away from the turret to make sure he gets out of tower range from taking extra shots of damage. Good call from a Just, and first blood to enemy.
Also, Saltmachine should have tanked that tower for one shot. I'm not sure why he just let his jungler take 50%, but that was a really important kill, and it was a guaranteed kill. I think that's the most important thing, is at that point, Baskin did not have enough mana to be able to use his ultimate, which is technically his only escape. The only thing they had to do was apply that ultimate, you know, get that damage, that tit coming off from Serqet, and it was guaranteed.
Big blink on the side, going to catch the Jaguar into the epic uppercut. Thor is in the sky though to try and turn this one around, but Vetium immediately responds with the Valkyrie's discretion to pick up BaRRaCCuDDa. Through space and time has been fired off, and now we're going to see Khaos turn up to try and support PainDeViande, who's in his passive, but he will fall.
Just trying real hard for this kill. May have put himself in a bad spot here as the Deathbane gets used defensively. Good banish from Vetium's going to make sure they get out, but Khaos gets rooted, he gets stunned, he gets plucked, and back to the base you go.
And a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Cloud9, who weren't the aggressors in that. It was all enemy that went for the play. It was PainDeViande and Khaos that fall down, and now Cloud9, they're going to look to steal away the purple buff as well. And Vetium can't really do much about that.
And check out the world champions here, right? They're up by 200 gold after dropping first blood. Right? They're even in kills, didn't get first blood, still ahead in gold. Can we see the graphs as well to note if this is experience as well as the mid camps respawn, and it's likely they're getting both?
Mainly experience. Gold is just, like you said, just a little bit ahead. They got left on Harpy's purple buff as well, and then on the right side you can see Baskin trying to go aggressive on this blue buff to keep them pinned in there, but I don't think he might go for a flail steal. Don't think he'll find it though, just going to back away. But Cloud9 do get the right Harpies as well.
Deathbane damage is very high. right? Even at this stage of the game. Baskin might be forced to escape here. Just going to take some archer damage. I'm very surprised to see him walk into lane the way that he did, but he'll get some experience. He'll be able to get out of there quickly. Saltmachine doing a good job of holding the lane down.
Well, early on, aggression mainly from the duo lane is where it all started off. Adjusted did find that kill onto Baskin, who was trying to back, but dived in deep and picked up the kill. And once again, enemy trying to go aggressive. So PainDeViande was the aggressor in that duo lane, and that's what Jumbhakarna is looking to do, really. Set up for big kills.
Backside, red buff going to be taken. Khaos and PainDeViande grouping up together. Now, Pain playing Kumba is not a huge surprise. I would say Pain is one of the players worldwide that was playing this character the most throughout the character's lifetime. So I'm not terribly surprised, although I like the character. I think that the Mesmerize is one of the most effective abilities in the game. Not only because the fact that it lasts for so long, but it's one of the few CC abilities that take full 360, very similar to Tail Whip.
And it's had a lot of changes to it because it was nerfed when in the early stages when Jumbhakarna was very, very much in the meta. But then as time's gone on, it's been buffed back to its original range and radius. But it's also now got an attack speed debuff if it breaks the Mez early. So you can actually slow down auto attacks from the likes of an Osiris, from the likes of a Xbalanque that the enemy team have.
And, you know, I think the Osiris is why it's so important. Because he picked Osiris. Oh, wait, what is this?
Good. I turn from
Are we going to see another Gold Fury today go completely uncontested?
Big burst of damage from Lurking in the Waters. Take that into account from the Guardian. It should go down, and PainDeViande was going to turn up and find out the Gold Fury is fallen. Cloud9 with a fantastic play just under 7 minutes.
That hurts a lot.
Blink on the right-hand side from Baskin. He's going to get himself in a bit of trouble over here. So Blink from Adjust, I should say. And there's a engagement.
Eagles probably didn't hit.
But he didn't find it through space and time. Was Khaos's, and he didn't find it either. And he's trying to make him pay, but he's not going to find anyone.
Didn't find that Anvil of Dawn. Had he landed that stun, there might have been something different here. The wall is big, but he doesn't actually wall the path off. He only goes for the stun. That's where adapting would have shined right there. But we have a huge 4-man rotation as the double Mez comes out, but Baskin is back in the mix.
Big teleporting from Baskin. Now PainDeViande's in a bit of trouble here. Has to use the throwback to escape, but he's slowed down by that sickle that connects again, but Stealth can't get in range to pick up a kill. So the teleport very well used by Baskin to stop the re-engage from enemy.
My favorite part about this is that JeffHindla immediately rotates to mid lane to start gaining the experience that Stealth and Khaos aren't getting because the mid laners both rotated. You'll see Adjust try to capitalize by taking the creeps that are remaining, but Jeff winds up getting the biggest part of that.
So aggression from both sides, but neither of them really coming out on top at this stage of the game. Yeah, there's a small goal lead for the Gold Fury from Cloud9, but when we look at the engagements between the two, it's relatively even and both teams doing very well to survive.
I'm not sure what Vetium was looking for there. That ward spotting JeffHindla. JeffHindla actually going for the charge prey just to stop the camp from going down. That one's going to go to C9.
And that's right as well. He was just trying to stop the camp going down. It's very hard to try and pluck a Serqet, especially who can get away. PainDeViande going to meet Jeff and Andy, who's looking towards that purple buff, but Vetium already taking that one down and taking the safe path back towards the tower to pick up those archer minions.
Looks like Andy's going to be leveling Berserker Barrage there, as you saw a double tap go off, and it didn't do 50% of his health.
For the time being.
Yeah, for the time being. Well, no, I mean, by the time he gets to level 12 and it's maxed, I don't think that it's going to be as effective as it would have been at level 9. He's relying on that Berserker's damage right now, but he's 101, so he's not doing a bad job with it.
And to be fair, it was Andinster that made the big play over on that left-hand side to stop the engagement. The big ultimate that turned that fight around and managed to get himself a kill and assist on that one. Adjusto still camping Baskin over on this right-hand side, and you can see him over there now going to meet Baskin in the edge of the jungle. And a bit of poke damage. I don't think he's going to find a kill, though.
He actually sent some damage back. Adjust takes a pretty decent chunk there, but it was Baskin who took the hurt. You'll notice he's just barely above 50% health, and Adjust is coming back into this lane. Soak
experience more than anything else, I think, there. Just because he's over here, there's nothing else on the side of the map to take. So
he might have needed gold. Can we see gold in hand?
Get some golden experience picked up for him. So 1,285 he's got himself there. Goes back.
Nope, he did not need that wave. I'm again, not really sure. I guess he just wanted to go back to get that heavy mace online.
Well, it's making it worthwhile. It's like lane tax, right? It's lane tax for ganking.
The minion tax, yeah.
Yeah, it's minion tax, that's all it is. It's tax just for coming to the lane and ganking for the opponent.
I tried, I get 3 last hits.
Only 3?
Only 3.
Okay.
Get half. Oh, I'm not sure why MLC threw those minions out.
He's just putting pressure on the lane more over and again. I've seen him do it
I guess, yeah, look at this.
They will get there and like, get into tower range, but it won't slow anything else down. Technically, those minions will continue running down the lane, though, as well, DM, so it can stop the enemy minion wave from pushing up as well for a few seconds, which can give you a bit more lane control if you're going to be out of your lane.
PainDeViande going to the back. Tail Whip going to stop the Mesmerize. This time only hitting JeffHindla. Not doing a lot of damage. The pluck's there. He's going to have to try to get out of this one as best he can.
Yeah, PainDeViande will get away because those clay minions actually didn't stick to PainDeViande. They're looking in the waters will hit, but there's no charge prey follow-up. Vetium's here, though, from the duo lane. He's not looking for the banish just yet, looking to put some poke pressure out, but guess who's around the back is Baskin.
Khaos taking a lot of damage. Berserker's not going to find it there, just barely getting out of danger as we have a 5-man grouping from both teams in the mid lane. So far, no casualties.
But it's Cloud9 who are the ones on top here. Full minion wave coming in, only Saltmachine and Vetium to defend against full 5 health members of Cloud9, and they're going to have to back away and give the first tower of the game over to Cloud9.
Wow. All right, so this one's kind of shaping up to be Cloud9's, right? I mean, they are going even in these team fights, enemy is, but Cloud9 is just taking every objective that they want for free so far.
Well, they got the Gore Fury early on. They've had the mid Harpies a couple of times uncontested. I mean, just to get those left ones a little bit earlier on, but they're getting the left ones again now at Cloud9, as well as that first tier 1 tower. And that's going to open the map up somewhat in this mid lane. The good news is, though, it's a Janus in mid for enemy, so they're going to be able to at least push up and use the portals to escape without having the tower behind them. So
let's take a look at the solo lane here, as it looks like Blue's going to be taking these mid camps for free. I think something to note here is I don't think either Baskin or Saltmachine have enough understanding of the philosophy to create their own metas in this lane, which is why we're seeing it stale out so much. You'll know both are going for that mystical mail, which is kind of the run-of-the-mill. Whereas we just saw, you know, Dimmy, right, going into that Runeforge hammer, Frostbound hammer, you know, kind of changing things up a little bit, catching his opponent off guard. They're both kind of going these static builds to try to play the baseline. They're focusing more on the fundamentals.
We said at the early game that once they start building defensive items, which is standard for a warrior, though, it's going to be impossible to kill each other anyway. So why not go for the team-orientated play?
Right, but what I'm saying here is, like, why the Mystical Mail instead of the Frostbound hammer? Or the Runeforge hammer, or the Breastplate of Valor. Like, why specifically the Mystical Mail? I feel like they are more taking pages out of Divios' book than actually trying to win the game for their team.
A little bit of trade backwards and forwards in there in the mid lane without the tower being there. Obviously, enemy going to have to back away a moment as Cloud9 and with Andy and MLC pressured a little bit more. Sobek, played by JeffHindla there, just going to clear out a ward and get Gore Fury control again, which has already respawned.
I like this Chronos Pendant. I want to see MLC Stealth use the Chronos Pendant, though. More ultimates, right? Be more aggressive. You have so much more damage potential right now, given the fact that Janus has boosted into it. Oh.
Yawn, epic uppercut. Teammates are waiting in position, but immediately jumps to the hammer. Vetium, though, does get plucked by JeffHindla on the other side, and the burst onto Vetium is big enough. Fire shards to the sky. Deletion.
Wow, that like striked him right into the ground. And a rather long cooldown gets reduced by the 25% reduction. Right back to the Gold Fury, 2 ultimates down. And, you know, just like you said, the epic uppercut's amazing, but what are they setting up for?
There's no real setup. Plucked, though, onto a Just, who's in a lot of trouble. Beads his away, though. Manages to get away, but Andy jumps to the hammer. Great play from a Just in response. What a survivor.
That was great. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's not going to change much, aside from some gold. Granted, killing the 1-0 Serqet would have netted them a lot. They're still going to get this Gold Fury for free, and at 13 minutes, that's a real big win, 280 apiece.
Now, Baskin did teleport over here to support, so that did allow Saltmachine, who made the correct call, I feel, in the 4v5, to stick in that solo lane and bring down the tower in response.
PainDeViande in some trouble here, uses the throwback.
No, uses the ultimate to get away.
That was ult.
That was his ult to get away. There's the throwback. He was on cooldown the first time. So you will see that out of a lot of Jumbakarnas. Use it to escape, just like a Nijar would, if you're really in a bit of a trouble.
Left side, BaRRaCCuDDa putting pressure onto the tier 1. Not getting a whole lot, about 30–40% total. Should put some pressure onto Vetium, however, level 13 right now. He's got 2 items beneath him. You'll note that BaRRaCCuDDa has not finished his boots. A very curious ideal, considering the fact that boots 2 to boots 3 is one of the most cost-efficient things that you can do in Smite at 650 gold with a 30 power spike.
But he does get some extra lifesteal online by holding that back, going towards that Soul Eater a little bit quicker, especially against,
it's not a lot.
But against the
Can
Freya,
we actually hover on the Bound Gauntlet?
7?
Oh, no, sorry, it's 10%. I knew there was a 7 in there.
It's 10%, and he's going to give you a little bit of a good situation. A little bit of attack speed, too.
Well, he's got the boots finished now.
But Harpy's being contested. Jeff, Charge Prey looking for Khaos. They're not going to find it. Instead, has to lurk in the waters thanks to the threshold that came out from Khaos there. So, forced ultimate from enemy.
I think what Bear is trying to do here is he wasn't looking for the lifesteal or attack speed. I think he was looking for the 200 health that it grants you, which might have been more useful for Baskin.
Baskin does get away from that ultimate, though, but Eagles rally, but his support there from the team. Groggy Strike was attempted by PainDeViande, but good flip from Jeff defends his solo laner, who is in a world of hurt there. Now they're looking for the blue buff.
Another 3 ultimates used compared to the 2. Andy and Stealth still here. Pain taking some damage. Blue buff, though, still going the way of enemy. Small victory.
that clay minions didn't do that much to PainDeViande as well. You can see that he went for magical resistance early on in this lane, in this map, going for the amulet instead of going for that sovereignty.
Right now, BaRRaCCuDDa trying to clean up the mess that Vetium has created for him. Level 15 right now is Vetium. Can we actually see gold in hand here and see how close he is to finishing up that demonic grip?
He's at 1,267 right now, so he's got a little bit more to go.
I think it's about 1,600 gold.
I believe you might be right. Yeah,
it's like 375 plus 12 something, 1205, I think it might be.
Soaking up these camps, and then one more wave should be enough to really bring it down, as well as the Sea Khaos. Picking up that red buff, currently 0-1-0 in that mid lane as that Janus has Shoes of the Med Giant and Chronos Pendant finished as well. So some pretty much identical builds in the mid right now between the two, but Vetium in a bit of trouble here.
Oh, he's going to have to ult once again.
Fire shards already been procced as well.
Strange that Andy used that Berserker Barrage right then. He got stuck out of place, though. The beautiful ult coming out from BaRRaCCuDDa, but he's getting outplayed!
Back, but Andy's going to get in there with the auto attack eventually, but Barry's in a world of hurt now. Khaos is going to
fling him that way!
To BaRRaCCuDDa, great uppercut, Groggy Strike will bring him down. PainDeViande picks up BaRRaCCuDDa, Vetium turns it into a 1-for-1 for me, and now the team are trying to turn it into a 2-for-1.
BaRRaCCuDDa absolutely choked there. Missed like 7 auto attacks in a row comparatively to Vetium, who had those extra width on the gumballs. Didn't miss a single shot, coupled that with the Fatalis, able to turn that around amazingly. And another great play from a Just. Spirit Flail, though, still going to clean it up, and he gets some extra damage on the jungler as well. Still, Cloud9 finds a 2-for-2 at the end of the day. It's what they can get afterwards.
Well, but what they can get afterwards, the clay minions are there in the duo lane, but we're seeing that Khaos and PainDeViande is still there to defend. They're going to back away from trying to take down that tower, which is now below half.
I still can't believe that Vetium dodged that many shots. And, you know, a lot of players, and I looked to Allied for this one from North American AFK, talking about the major benefits of Fatalis, right? So what Fatalis gives you movement speed and the ability to ignore movement penalty. A lot of that is considered, to me, effective health. It's a form of defense for you to be able to dodge that quickly and not take that damage. It's better than a Geb shield, right? Because it's always better to take no damage, right?
Agreed. The funny thing about that engagement as well is Vetium, after he landed, he thought he was dead anyway, so he stood still for a second, but wait, I'm alive.
I think he got stunned, actually.
Was he a stun?
I think he got stunned from the Xbalanque ult. I think he got caught moving.
I actually thought what he was he just said about, wait a minute, I'm alive. I might as well just keep boxing for as long as I can. And near enough, 100-0 BaRRaCCuDDa there as well.
That should have been a lot worse. And I think a lot of that came down to the fact as well that Andinster used the Berserker Barrage where he could have finished it off with an auto attack, right? Just by walking forward. Freya had one option, and that was ult.
Well, Andinster over this side of the map again. The purple buff is available. He's going to start this one up. Khaos has spotted it. Adjust is here, but JeffHindla round the back with MLC's Fog in support. You can see him just there too. They should get the purple buff for free and continue trying to steal away jungle, but MLC's in trouble.
He's going to pay for this one. Yeah, he didn't even get up into the sky that time. MLC way overcommitted to do some damage to PainDeViande, who's still sitting pretty healthy. In fact, more healthy than JeffHindla, who was forced to rotate. This is enemy's chance.
Yeah, well, the Gold Fury literally just spawned. You can see it flying in there, and the boys of enemy, they should be aware of this. Jeff, below half HP here, doesn't have his ultimate available. You can see Andy having to come over here, has ultimate BaRRaCCuDDa on the way too. It's going to be a 2v4 scenario.
Oh, they're going to reset and take the fight instead. BaRRaCCuDDa immediately tries to get out of there. Oh, PainDeViande threw the ultimate out, it looks like, but I think that was a beads usage from Xbalanque.
Yeah. Barra did get those beads off, but look at Saltmachine on the backside, still going deep for Andinster, keeping 2 members busy as the rest of his team try to bring down the Gold Fury. Saltmachine nice and healthy here. Sobek and Baskin are heading over towards the Gold Fury, and Baskin actually going to fall to Vetium.
Right, but the Gold Fury hasn't gone down yet. Saltmachine getting very low as MLC Stealth respawns, and it will be enough for the kill. BaRRaCCuDDa very low there as Adjust able to get a lot of damage off from the ultimate, but he's staying alive. The poison, though, still spreads, and they are bleeding out.
This was the game of the week for a reason, boys and girls, and still Vetium stays alive and finds himself a double kill. Gonna chase down Andinster, who should have his hammer up. Looking for the wall, not gonna find it, but jumps to the hammock.
He can't run forever.
Continue chasing.
He can't run forever. Vetium is too quick.
He could bait into stealth, and Vetium, very wise, staying back and not chasing any further.
Gold Fury still manages to stay alive here. Enemy not getting that huge burst in gold that they needed. Still down about 1,300 gold, but Cloud9's, I think, tyrannical lead has definitely been crippled.
Let's have a look at the experience in gold here as well, because right now, the gold is only 1,200. They've had 2 Gold Furies and their tower advantage, Cloud9 here. And this is the impact of the Gold Fury scaling now as time goes on, DM.
You know, I'm looking at enemy. they played that as well as they could have. Big ult from Adjust, but I think a lot of that came down to the misplay from MLC Stealth. He foolishly moved forward to try to take a small amount of damage onto a support and immediately got picked.
I think what he was trying to do, though, is he followed Sobek. He followed JeffHindla the same path. And was just like, not necessarily a lemming as such, but he just followed the same path through. And because he was late on that rotation, tried to get towards his team and ended up getting picked.
But once MLC was gone, there was just nothing for them to do. I mean, it was a really good attempt. In fact, Andy almost was able to turn that into a big win for Cloud9, but 2 members of enemy just barely escaped. And then Vetium came back over and started chasing him, forced the escape.
Left-hand side, ward wars are going on as you'd expect. And Vetium using the full combo of his pulse there to actually push them back and actually drop his ward and clear the other ward.
Vetium going to start it up once again. Bressingman's Blessing going to be doing work here. Not a lot of other lifesteal on the board, so he's going to do his best to try to keep himself healthy.
Look what Pain's doing.
This is free.
Busy. Keeping him busy. And like,
completely
we're not
free.
doing the Gold Fury, guys. I'm just pushing you out. And even Saltmachine was over there for support too. Enemy get their first Gold Fury of the game for free as well.
So now it's up to Saltmachine to try to defend this tower, because when Cloud9 got their Gold Fury, Saltmachine took a tower. Can Baskin Robbins do the same?
He will. He'll be able to pick this one up. Saltmachine will be
I don't
over
think
there.
so.
But in mid lane, the Yawn is connected. Andinster going to berserk up Roger. Just went in very deep then. Teleporting from Baskin as the flip lands onto Vetium. Valkyrie's discretion used. Fire shards available again. Vetium in trouble.
I think Jeff might have had that kill.
What an uppercut.
But he backed off, and I don't know why. The epic uppercut right there, stopping the chase from Baskin. He doesn't get the tower on right just yet, but the minions are moving in. All 5 members of Cloud9 still stand.
Everyone lives, though, but the problem is the enemy are very, very weak here. They've got minions coming in. Don't forget clay minions from MLC.
Oh, they didn't go in.
They can try and tank this tower down and bring down a tier 2, which makes that Gold Fury almost naught.
The way that the minions were placed, too, was so strong. They put themselves right into the front line. The tower gets completely crippled. Now they're going to try to chase Cloud9, it seems. Spirit Gun,
no. Not going to connect, but the blinking from Pain will mez out too. And eventually Jeff falls down in trade. It's not enough that they need it, but they want to keep pushing here.
PainDeViande going to rotate, looks like to the back line. I thought he was going to take that portal and go for it.
It was tempting, but his ult moves on cooldown. He could have really Yawn instead. They're going to take the tier 1 tower and trade in mid lane, so they lose a tier 2.
Those minions might have been wasted there. They threw them a little bit early. No, they're not going to find a way in. I thought Adjust was going to try to force the ticket there, but didn't happen.
Adjust in the backside, going to trade out with Baskin a little bit, and the tether falls down, but that slope is still applied from the circle. Look at PainDeViande. He's there to support. It's
going to be a good deterrence right there. I mean, even if they could fight that, and they probably could have, all he had to do was mez and walk away.
Well, the funny thing about enemy is the average game length for the season is 34 minutes, one of the highest in the SPL so far this season, 34 minutes. Cloud9 behind them at 32 minutes, so generally quite longer games than what we've seen out of most of the teams.
See, I'm almost worried for enemy if they start winning too many games, because this team right now is winning games based off the fact that they're playing up. They're constantly underrated by analysts, by us, by the fans. They are one of the bottom-seeded teams, despite the fact that they're actually 3rd ranked in North America right now.
They drew with Cloud9 last time round, and they're giving it to them again. Like,
exactly.
This isn't bad performance at all. It's good.
The issue is what happens when they start winning solidly, right? And they're no longer the underdogs. Do you think they keep playing up?
Well, hold on a second. Vetium having to use the beats there. The support from enemy is finally here, though, as Andy has to beat an ult away. But with that ult, the satellite will give view of where enemy are to respawn, and eventually Cloud9 back away. But they do get the tower.
Enemy now with the gold lead. I mean, even after that that tower falling, they're still about a 400 or 500 gold advantage. PainDeViande, Groggy Strike going to affect one.
Good work from PainDeViande there to force the ult out, just because of the root coming out from him. Worried about the setup potential for the all-in play from enemy. Cloud9 going to be in the back foot for the time being. As you can see over on the right-hand side, Saltmachine continuing to pressure the tower, forcing Baskin over to defend.
MLC Stealth there, yes, he got his ultimate force, but remember, that also gives him vision of everyone.
That's true.
They know that everyone is going for that mid lane push, except for Saltmachine, who's trying to push to the tier 2. It actually gave them enough information that I think this is going to wind up playing better for Cloud9 in the long run.
A bit of patience now. With the Gold Fury being down for about 2 minutes, you'll see him probably just farm up the jungles for the time, especially with where the minion position is on the map from both teams. No one's going to overextend now that the towers are starting to open up a little bit more.
Rotating over towards the left side. Red buff still available here as Khaos goes to pick that one up. He's level 19 right now, equal to both MLC Stealth and Baskin. Oh, I'm sorry, and it looks like Saltmachine as well.
It's a very, very even game. We go to the graphs one more time just to show you how even it is. Experience is only 1,000 differential. Gold is relatively, completely even as PainDeViande does get a yawn off onto Andinster into the epic uppercut. Maybe they're looking for Andy here.
Andy teleporting out. very slowly. Still manages to get away, lurking in the waters. Only going to hit the support here. Where's Andy going to go? He's going to go towards the back line and try to chase the Serqet, but too tricky. She gets away.
Does come out, and Saltmachine going to get flipped into
Eagles
trouble
rally
here as well. There will be portals available, but can he get out in time? Eagles rallies away. Is anyone going to follow him up? Yes, it is. It's Baskin
and he
on
can't
the
heal.
case.
That's
the
guaranteed.
wall doesn't connect, but the fire shards do, and our Pain's in trouble too.
Enemy trying to get away from this one. One more hit. Yeah, BaRRaCCuDDa's going to find it and force the sleepy Vetium, trying to keep the front line as Baskin trying to shut his damage down.
Double kill going over to MLC Stealth there, but Vetium goes to the sky with the Valkyries. Blocks all the members of Cloud9 low, and Adjust here in full health too to chase.
Vetium picked the wrong targets. He should have focused what was in front of him. He tried to kill people in the back line and get fancy. Instead winds up taking nobody down for his ultimate. They're going to lose 2 right there. Granted, there's not a lot for Cloud9 to gain here, and especially with how many have to back. It's going to be what they can do with this extra 10 to 15 seconds after they've gotten back to lane.
Adjust there, trying to push those minions in to deny some experience at gold, at least try and get some sort of advantage there, but not going to find anything as Andinster and BaRRaCCuDDa were well aware of the situation. They're 9-9. We called this the game of the week coming in, and it's living up to expectations right now.
Enemy has had a really successful early game. You know, it's hard to take away for the fact, you know, I mean, it's even, right? Normally, it wouldn't be so exciting that a game is even, right? Usually one team wants to be ahead if it's, but this is like, Enemy is, again, 3rd seed, technically a higher seed right now than Cloud9, but I mean, everyone expected Cloud9 to win this coming in, and for this to be as close as it is really shows how contentious North America is in its current state.
And Enemy's just in a great spot as well, sitting themselves at 3rd. Cloud9 at 4th at the moment. I mean, they've only played 16 games, whereas Enemy have played 20 so far, so a little advantage for Cloud9 in terms of games still to be played. But at the moment, as it stands, they're still giving a run for the money for this 3rd seed spot. Gold Fury being started by Cloud9 again. PainDeViande aware of it this time with the wall placements.
Gold Fury getting kind of tanked around here.
Teleport from Baskin. Oh, it's not Baskin.
Ooh,
I apologize.
Stealth
Saltmachine coming in. Who's around the back? Adjust is around the back. But he's not going to find a Tiger there, but there's an initiation looking for somebody. Jeff,
Mesmerize
the
missed.
Tiger, though.
The Mesmerize completely whipped, but JeffHindla is getting dominated. So much damage getting sent to that Sobek, and poor Baskin Robbins stuck by himself. Epic uppercut. Can they follow it up?
They're going to get the unstable Vortex, but he doesn't really connect as he does use the Lord of the Afterlife to get away. BaRRaCCuDDa zoning from the other side with the poison to slow them down. The double tap does connect there from Andinster, but now Saltmachine still on the front line.
Trying to find a way in, looking for that ultimate. Still a lot of damage. MLC Stealth got forced away. They still have their global ultimates to use, though. Thor can reinitiate cleanly at pretty much any point. Baskin Robbins trying to work his way back in without using his teleport.
Does still have teleport, as you mentioned. PainDeViande on zoning duty with Saltmachine, but they've not covered the option where you'll find BaRRaCCuDDa and Jeff now does Pain. Gold Fury ends up getting reset one more time as Cloud9 look for the initiation.
It looks like it's Saltmachine that gets flung back here, but it just takes the brunt of the damage. BaRRaCCuDDa gets very low here. Fire Shard's not going to be enough to clean up Adjust as Vetium takes to the sky to try to waste him.
This is a fight for Enemy that's really big because their damage dealer's got pushed back thanks to Khaos and the ultimate. Oh, big Eagles rally to set up Khaos for the unstable Vortex. 1 for 0 in the trade, but it looks like Cloud9 are going to lick their wounds and head back to base.
This could actually start turning in Enemy's favor super hard. That's going to be a max value Gold Fury. As we go to the graphs, you're going to see a big spike here in favor of Enemy in just a second.
He will go up and give Enemy that gold lead. Not for the first time this game, but he's been just over a gold lead so far.
There it is, finally. That took a lot longer than I was expecting.
But most of the teams like backing away and playing it a little bit safer. But the big play there was Khaos' through space and time hit both MLC Stealth and BaRRaCCuDDa that just kept them completely out of that fight. And when you've got the 2 damage dealers out, you've only got Jeff, Andy, and Baskin on the front line. You've not got the damage potential to bring down some of these targets.
You'll note the rather large difference between the supports, level 16 versus level 14. And, you know, Pain has actually been 16 for quite some time. He's about to hit into level 17 and gain access to that level 4 ultimate. Epic Uppercut does a lot of damage. It's actually one of the most important ultimates to upgrade in the game for a Guardian.
Well, with that Gold Fury going down, it is now 2-2 on Gold Fury's taken. Checking with the towers, and you see they're relatively even. Other than that tier 2 tower in the mid lane for Enemy, be very, very weak and potentially free golden experience if someone can get an opportunity to walk up and take it. For all intensive purposes, this is a pretty much absolutely even game.
Cloud9 kind of licking their wounds here a little bit, like you said before. they're trying to rotate around the jungle and find anything to farm. They're still 3-man in camps at 30 minutes into the game because not everyone is level 20. You'll know Jeff level 14, Andy actually level 18, tied with a Just. So the big difference in experience really are only the supports at this point. And honestly, lurking the waters while it does a lot of damage isn't something that's like hyper necessary. I feel at this point that PainDeViande will actually benefit a lot more from levels than JeffHindla will.
Well, funny thing is, because normally at about 30 minutes in the game, DM, we normally have a clear leader, a clear front runner in the game, and the other team's on the defensive, the other team is the aggressor. At the moment, there's only a small gold separation between the two, but it's enemy that, you know, they feel like they have the advantage because of that gold to go aggressive and start putting the pressure onto Cloud9, and Cloud9 taking the defensive approach at the moment is stealth. Get some good damage off onto Saltmachine there, but it just does not find him in trade.
So let's look at the builds here, right? We have MLC Stealth, almost no penetration. In fact, no penetration. He's going into pure damage for fire shards. He'll need probably an obsidian shard to round this out for this next item. Thor going into what looks like a Runeforge Hammer next for a little bit more defense. A little bit strange to see that as opposed to the Mail of Renewal, which will also max out his CDR. So a little bit curious to see the Runeforge.
We see the Mail of Renewal coming out from Serqet as well. I just did pick up third item there. So if he gets that poison proc and gets out of the fight,
it's the best item in the game.
He can just sustain and get that cooldown.
It should just be on everybody that's not a hunter.
He does have Deathbringer finish now as well, Adjust, and he's making a big impact for his team so far. 3, 1, and 5. He's looking for Baskin here, but immediate tether comes out. PainDeViande going to swing around the side with the root.
Why are they letting Pain do this?
Because it's hard. What are we going to do to a KJumbhakarna?
I mean, at least send some damage. I mean, a Shining Metal, like anything. MLC Stealth was right there.
I mean, you try and fight him, he'll yawn on you, potentially turn it around if he's got support from his team. He's got to be very careful against a combo. Like we said, the setup essentially is very, very big.
The Runic Shield, I think, is an important pickup. Attack speed slow will stop Bellona, and then the attack speed plus magic power slow actually hurts Bellona a lot. But I'm sorry, Freya a lot. But the issue is Freya's already has a ridiculous amount of damage at this point.
We were mentioning Hasten Fatalis earlier on, DM, and you can see the BaRRaCCuDDa's actually picked this item up as well, over going for some crit here. Do you like this because he's against the likes of Freya, where he needs to, you know, trade out the Jukes more than anything else?
I mean, this is like almost the allied build, right? Where you're going no crit into Fatalis and Soul Eater. Like, this is going to allow him to box. The issue is BaRRaCCuDDa needs 6 kills to be able to match that damage that Freya's putting out.
Well, Freya's putting out some good damage onto Baskin here as they're trying to burst him down, but Baskin, very, very patient there, didn't use his ultimate to try and get himself out the sticky spot. He's going to quickly recall, has teleport in case enemy try to re-aggress some more.
Mid lane getting pressured by 5. Just going into the jungle looks like trying. I really like this, the fact that he's trying to play that assassin role. He's trying to always go to the back line, pick somebody off. He's never trying to be the initiator. He's leaving that to Pain and Saltmachine, as he should.
Bit unfortunate for enemy there. They tried to pressure mid lane, but because the solo lane and the dual lane so pushed out by Cloud9, they couldn't worry Cloud9 enough to go and defend. So instead, they have to relieve the pressure they got by putting the onto Baskin and just go back to farming out their lanes and pushing them back once more.
Still only about a 2,000 gold difference. At 32 minutes into the game, this is all but even, right? One gold fury separates them. It's not that big of a deal, especially when Cloud9, I mean, if at any point enemy moves away from the map, Cloud9, or really just MLC Stealth, can move down the mid lane, throw down the minions, and even up the 1,500 gold in a heartbeat.
Speed buff going to be dropped down for Adjust here and across the way. Andinster will be taking his soon. It's on a little bit of a longer cooldown there. Gold Fury's due up at
this. Is that a Pestilence? I guess that's for Freya?
Baskin. To deal with Freya and the lifesteal?
I mean, that's the only thing I could really put my finger on. I mean, it's not like she built Pythagorean's Piece, though.
But it will affect the lifesteal anyway, correct?
Yes, I mean, it will.
I mean, she's got Bancrofts as well, taking that as well.
So it's 27%, so she loses, what is it, like 6.1, something like that? Something?
Yeah, it's not monstrous amounts, but it's something. And the MLC Stealth actually going for finally getting some penetration online, which we've not seen since he picked up those boots early on. Spear is being worked on right now, and he gets picked by Adjust there, who didn't use the ultimate, but look at this, Cloud9 looking for the Gold Fury. Vetium actually beads in that as well.
Big.
And
oh, but Pain.
He's aware, through space and time, snipe steal!
No, not going to be it. They do reset it, but look at the damage. MLC Stealth got tipped by that, and he is now sitting at about 25% of his health.
And Stealth did just use his ultimate as well defensively against Adjust, so maybe this is a fight that enemies want to continue to take it. Cloud9 still trying to force the issue here. Jeff just charged into a bit of trouble here. Gonna have to lurk it in the waters. The Gold Fury has been reset finally as the Epic Uppercut comes up from Pain. Vetium secures it with the help of Adjust.
I mean, that was a lot of ultimates used for the support, but really there's no counterplay right now for Cloud9 as the Darkest of Nights comes out. That was used defensively. Enemy has control. This should be a free Gold Fury here.
Well, Andy was in the air then as well, but they didn't manage to find any targets, so just came down next to BaRRaCCuDDa. And it's Cloud9 that have to give up the Gold Fury again to Enemy, who ended up winning the engagement.
This is huge. This puts Enemy, this is the real lead. Let's take a look at the graphs here as you see another spike up for Enemy. It's going to go up to 4,500 gold. This is where things start to take a turn because now they have complete control. What they have to do, I think the one thing that Cloud9 has not done well in this game is they keep getting hit by through space and time. And it's like, it's coming at them from a mile away.
The point now is the through space and times have connected from Khaos twice in the last 2 Gold Furies that has deleted a member at least from the fight completely. And
it has turned it completely.
Been very unfortunate.
It's one thing if it like comes from the side or behind you, but it's coming straight at them and they're getting hit by it. I don't know if it's complacency or the fact that maybe they don't see it because of the way they're holding their cameras. Whatever it is, they can't take another through space and time to the chest. Well, not with that build.
At the moment, he's doing a lot of damage. I was about to say that Rodder Tahuti is almost online as well for Khaos. So when that hits, the damage is going to go even higher. And then he could be looking for Soul Weaver as the final item, which could potentially two-shot somebody with an unstable Vortex too.
Right side camps, albeit maybe not the most important thing at 35 minutes, will go to blue buff. I'm sorry, blue side.
I do like what
the blue
Cloud9's
buff
doing,
is going to be taken as well.
Cloud9 are pushing up the lanes consistently. Even though they're behind, they're keeping them pushed out, so Enemy can't put more pressure on for towers. You can see that by the right-hand side there. Left-hand side's relatively even here, so it doesn't mean they have to have somebody across the other side of the map defending against lane push.
So I think a misstep from Baskin here is he builds into Shield of the Underworld plus Pestilence. One of them reduces, healing, the other one reduces lifesteal, right? But really, it's only for the lifesteal, so he's not gaining anything from this Pestilence anymore.
Jeff took a lot of poke there after missing the charge prey, and Baskin does get whooped up as Vetium. Very defensive ultimate very early, but Andy's now in the sky. Vetium could be in a lot of trouble here now that the ultimate's on cooldown. They're looking at Khaos as the damage dealer, but that Aegis will buy him a second to not take too much from Andinster. But Vetium very low, and the fire shards will bring him down.
Wow, Khaos still here we go. No, he's off the mark this time. He expected him to move forward. He actually does still find JeffHindla, but that could have done a lot more had he done it a little bit to the left, but he expected the aggression. But still, that whole engagement nets a 1-for-1, and it looks like it's seen.
Did save Saltmachine as well. Saltmachine does have teleport available because he's straight back into the engagement. He disarms BaRRaCCuDDa early to stop the damage going into the Fire Giant, but he's surrounded by 3 Paints here with the Mez, and but MLC Stealth round the back. Saltmachine's in trouble.
Yeah, there's no way he's getting out of that one. At this point, their question is, do they chase PainDeViande or they try to get out of here as a just? All he needs to do is land that ultimate, but it's not up for 14 seconds.
They do manage to pick up Stealth, who got hit by the unstable Vortex. The beads from a just will get him out of trouble from Andinster, and Baskin continuing to chase. 2-for-2 exchange, and the Fire Giant stands there now.
I think that was a good one-for-one trade for Enemy. Saltmachine to almost back up. MLC Stealth, or no, he's nice. 40 seconds. MLC about 10 seconds behind it, 50 seconds. But I mean, that all came 100% down to the fact that he teleported in, stopped them from doing FG. He probably could have waited like 5 more seconds, and he might have survived. But at the same time, he didn't know that. He didn't have wards on the ground. Pain wasn't in position to give him that information. It was just like, get there and stop it.
I think that's the right call, though, to get there and stop it, because they're damage dealers. So the two that they had there, Saltmachine on the Bellona and a KJumbhakarna, what kind of secure have they got on a Fire Giant? Not much, really. So let's just get the team off it and stop them from getting even anywhere near low to pick it up afterwards.
We're 38 minutes into this game right now. Another long one. As neither team really has enough to end the game. There's a 5,000 gold difference for Enemy right now, but I mean, that's not the end of the world. I mean, this is kind of like where you have the advantage, but as we saw, Cloud9 technically still won that last engagement.
They did, but they're not going to get anything more out of the Fire Giant. Like you said, stands. All the tier 2 towers, even that mid one is still standing, even though it's on its last legs right now.
I wonder what would have happened if MLC had 30 more damage on that ultimate and it would have killed Khaos, and the through space of time wouldn't have killed JeffHindla. I wonder what would have transpired if that support was still alive and MLC didn't get crippled. I think they might have been able to push for a Phoenix there, but it's been chaos. All 3 major engagements of this game have been 100% on the back of that ultimate.
Now, most games this season as well have gone between like 27 and 31 minutes here. So talking about late game here, where are we looking for the damage to come from both these teams now, DM?
It's hard to say. I mean, For right now, I mean, it should be Freya, but it seems like it's been Janus. On the other side, it should be BaRRaCCuDDa, but it seems to be Baskin and MLC Stealth. It seems like the normal carries are not getting into their roles.
Let's see if they can finally hit that marker. Saltmachine, a little bit pushed up here, going to be surrounded by 3 members, but support is on the way from enemy. And immediately Cloud9 know that blink in from PainDeViande, going to get a big mez, force out the beads of Andinster, as actually in the jungle, just manages to find Stealth for free.
This could be really big. Through space and time doesn't affect this one, but it was the jungler that finds MLC Stealth before the fire shards go off. He's being extremely disruptive of just really filling the shoes of Wiggles, it seems. As they push down the right tier 2, they're going right into the Phoenix.
Phoenix is a possibility here. Death timers are getting longer as the game goes on. You can see 45 seconds still on Stealth, 50 on Baskin as they're looking for this Phoenix. 3 members still alive. Andinster does have his ultimate, may have to use it here soon.
Salt smart to target and make sure the Phoenix is hitting him instead of the creeps. Keeps it alive for a little while longer. The Phoenix is getting crippled, and Saltmachine able to clear it up despite the body blocks. Major objective loss right there for Cloud9 as the lead extends for enemy. I'm sorry, is that 9,000 gold?
No hanging around from enemy either. Immediately back to base to abuse the situation to the best before they get picked. Although Saltmachine, he got away in time. Andy, though, continuing to chase him. Vetium, they may look to pick up Andy here, but they've got to realize Cloud9 have reinforcements coming.
And Cloud9 has a lot of work to do. This looks like they could take another game here. And at this point, Cloud9 is maybe thinking like, is it Omega? Was Omega the necessary frontline that we need? You know, it seemed like Baskin was filling the shoes for a while. They just won that LAN, in fact, you know, at the Cognitive Invitational. But now, like, it seems like they don't have a frontline.
Well, zoning duty was used there, and they will pick it up PainDeViande, keeping Jeff out. Just going aggressive onto BaRRaCCuDDa, who used the Darkest Night looking for Khaos. Andy's in the sky now. Who's going to look for on the backside? No, he goes defensively to support his carry, as PainDeViande is doing good zoning work through space and time, hit Stealth, but he didn't hurt that much because a good shell came out.
BaRRaCCuDDa, though, still took about 45% of his health there. Not going to be able to fight for too much longer. This, to me, seems like another Tier 2 plus the Gold Fury, maybe even 2 Tier 2s. I don't know if they'll go for the Phoenix just yet, but they have a lot of control over the map right now, and given the fact that most of their ults, or most of the ults on Cloud9 are down, I'm expecting enemy to take a pretty choice fight here.
Full credit to Jeff, though, for that reaction shell as well to that through space and time coming through just to support his teammate.
They were in the choke point.
Yeah, it was pressure.
Yeah, the mid-tier 2 falls, left side. They're going to go for this one again. Yeah, Vetium goes right in, no problem whatsoever. Khaos doing damage as well. That Fire Giant really helping out as Pain takes the aggro, likely to go to the Gold Fury. Another 3,000 gold right into the pockets, and they're going to look towards GF right after.
Yeah, pressure in the mid lane once more. Now that they've got the tier 2 tower, you can see Saltmachine just going to hang around here and keep the pressure on. As the rest of the team, like you said, head towards that Gold Fury, strip away the jungle, the red buff also going down too. I mean, for me right now, enemy as a whole team have played perfectly, really, well, not perfectly, but really, really well this game. And he's been a really big backbone of this.
Yeah, look at this. They're just going right in, and there's nothing Cloud9 can do about that. All they had to do was just rush down that Gold Fury, pressure it, take it. They already have all the towers and a Phoenix. We'll go to the graphs again just to show you how deep in the mud is Cloud9.
He started to spiral a little bit out of control. The one benefit for Cloud9 though here, DM, is when you look at those graphs and you see the golden experience so far into enemy's favor, everyone's nearing a full build.
Yeah.
Everyone's near enough level 20. So even though it looks like a lot of experience and a lot of gold differential, it's not actually, as we're all full build.
I mean,
well,
not
relatively.
all full
almost. We're like almost an item.
The Spirit Robe's not done. The what looks like Brawler's Beat Stick is not done. There's an entire item missing from MLC Stealth. In fact, that hole has been empty for a long time. Sobek still doesn't have a 6th item started compared to the Nemean line, which admittedly probably isn't the best pickup in the entire game. It's still better than literally nothing. Only BaRRaCCuDDa has a full build at this point, given the fact that he has all his items finished, but he does not have that Aegis maxed.
Aggression from Saltmachine in the jungle onto Jeff, just going to charge prey away there.
Plus red pots.
Last time they faced off against each other, take into account, enemy did win game 1, Cloud9 won game 2, and at the moment with this Fire Giant still being on them, enemy could look to take it again.
Both Phoenixes are getting pressured here. I mean, I just don't know.
Is this the right call to
Cloud9
split this up?
I think enemy could burn into this base here pretty safely, but they're being very defensive.
Very defensive indeed. That right Phoenix is going to spawn soon as well. Not started flashing just yet, but it won't take long, which means Cloud9 will have all 3 Phoenixes up once more.
And they have to defend the right side. They know that. Realistically, they shouldn't.
But Adjust is actually looking to pick up Andinster. Got to go down. Andy gets out as Fire Shards is used very early from stealth to find out where everybody else was.
Adjust was a big part of their pressure. With the right side Phoenix respawning, I think Adjust maybe showed his hand a little bit too early. Waiting 20 more seconds and forcing them to be on that side, allowing the team to rush the mid was probably the best call. He stepped out of position, and the world champion jungler from Cloud9 dominated him. MLC Stealth using the Fire Shards to pick it up. Saltmachine getting kind of aggressive here. Baskin getting very low.
He is really in trouble there as Vetium's doing some good poke. Oh, the through space and time missed. Epic uppercut to continue the setup onto him as well. Lord of the Afterlife used, but there's no follow because BaRRaCCuDDa's going to zone them away. Portal use to disengages. Andinster dunks down on the backside. Will be in a bit of trouble there. Jeff ate a lot of poke from that Soul Reaver. Ooh.
Man, Jeff has a lot of defense, and it just doesn't seem to matter.
That Soul Reaver proc then on that exact one for Khaos, and with that, the aggression dissuades, but Cloud9 keep their Phoenix. And for me, Adjust, what happened there was Adjust has done that time and time again, picking a target off, but this time Cloud9 responded and stopped it.
They expected it. And you look at the Phoenix. The Phoenix is actually standing strong right now. A lot of health. Granted, they could still backdoor it pretty easily, but with the Fire Giant coming up now, they have the option to both defend the Fire Giant and the weakened Phoenix at the same time. This gives such great pressure to Cloud9. The issue, of course, still they're down by 13,000 gold.
Down 13,000 gold.
Although
the build to reach him.
I would say there's about 2,500 gold that just got tossed into the garbage, given the fact that all those purple pots and red pots just got wasted.
Well, Saltmachine still has another one on him at the moment, as we can see in that mid lane. Just continues to pressure the minions down and keep the advantage for them, because now enemies starting to get map control. Well, they've had map control for a little while with those tier 2 towers and the Phoenix, but now they're trying to dominate the jungle too, so they can set up for the Fire Giant a second time.
They're going to go right for it. No one from Cloud9 is ready. They've really made a misstep here by not taking this fight. They had it pretty much guaranteed, but they don't have an ultimate that's going to be able to do this one. And with that, enemy will take the second Fire Giant of the game, and I imagine are going to be trying to burn down the right side.
With the last Fire Giant they did pick up, they got the 2 tier 2 towers, didn't manage to find a Phoenix. And now they're pressuring right, like you said.
Well, also, take a look at Saltmachine in the middle. He's going to clear this mid wave up so that as soon as they take this right tower, they can rush back into mid. Great play.
BaRRaCCuDDa did just push out that left, though, so they've got a bit of an opportunity there to defend. So they can focus on defending the right-hand side, which is a weakened Phoenix, so it won't take too long to burst down.
Granted, they don't have a traditional hunter. They only have Freya, whose damage isn't going to be as high as someone like, you know, a Xbalanque.
Adjust actually sat in mid lane at the moment, round the corner, keeping an eye on Saltmachine. See if somebody does get themselves out of position. PainDeViande switching between the two, so he's going to dance between them.
The split's not working.
Either side.
They need a hunter for this split to work. You know, already Freya's getting forced back, and I just don't see them being able to do this. Yes, group up as 5, just rush it down. Blink in there, hit them with the crazy mez, and allow that Phoenix to die.
Well, Andinster is going to be able to push out mid lane, though. On that Thor, he does have the global presence to teleport in here and get down and influence this fight from over there, too. Banish connection from Vetium, but now that's on cooldown. Cloud9 going to go a bit aggressive. A nice stun onto PainDeViande, but doesn't do too much damage as Saltmachine returns to mid lane.
Saltmachine, wow, I'm going to take a tower shot. Not sure why. Right side getting pressured. And I like the fact that they're using Andy for defense, because he's the one that can just ult and get over to the right side immediately. And
that's what he'll be looking to do. Is PainDeViande got to pressure the right-hand side here, taking a little bit of poke, but he's so tanky right now. With 6 items online, it's hard to bring down any Guardian, let alone a KJumbhakarna.
There's 2 minutes and 50 seconds left of this dance.
Yeah,
right? Once Fire Giant drops, it'll be a little bit safer. I'm still expecting at least one Phoenix. What are they going to do here? They're aggressing super hard, but Andy actually dodges.
He does dodge, and now Cloud9 going to reinforce. Not all the members of enemy are here yet. It just has to disengage early.
Wait.
They're going to keep putting the pressure on. Cloud9 right now looking to push back, but Vetium is poking Jeff really hard through space, and time connects with him, but he's still alive.
It was the shell once again. Jeff missed the pluck there. Very surprising. I don't think he calculated the fact that they were going to have to stop moving because of BaRRaCCuDDa's ult. But at the same time, they're able to follow up. Fire Shards on Adjust. Is it enough?
Big disarm from Saltmachine actually stopped BaRRaCCuDDa in his tracks from continuing the aggression.
No new ult.
Everybody lives, but Saltmachine is too far forward as his team disengaged. And one member of enemy 4, the Fire Giant, is being wasted, and Cloud9 are coming back.
Khaos is really low here. And he's going to get him! Oh my god, MLC Stealth with the turnaround. They're going to be chasing down Vetium. He's going to ult soon. And look at the spacing. They're making sure they don't get triple banished here. Only Baskin's going to get stopped there, and they're going to rush right on forward.
Vetium going to have to just stand and bang because he's got no escape. Now he will fall down. Pain going to have to recall, but look at this. The respawn time is DM so long. Cloud9 can look for a Phoenix potentially in the game.
Are they going to win? Are you serious?
Jumbhakarna and Serqet.
Serqet, I mean, she had
Jumbhakarna
nothing.
can mess for a long time, but they're so tanky at these items at this stage of the game that the Titans shouldn't be able to 100-0 any of them.
Plus, there's 2 Shield of the Underworlds available. If they commit too hard to the wrong target, they'll kill themselves. BaRRaCCuDDa, though, that was the right push. And great to push him into the Phoenix here, but the Aegis did so much. The Titan is taking about 50% of his health here. BaRRaCCuDDa will fall.
He will fall, but so will the Titan. The burst from MLC Stealth is going to be enough. Cloud9 take game 1 against Enemy after, let's be honest, Enemy were ahead for so long.
What? Was that serious?
That was the game. That was the game. Enemy made one small mistake, and that for me it was like splitting up.
They didn't have a hunter, right? If there was a hunter in that mix, that split would have been fantastic. But they had Freya, which means they have a 3-second window. It's normally 5, you know, with the pulse, but it's not a true 5 because someone's going to get body blocked. She has 3 seconds at most to hit that Phoenix. And given the fact that Jeff can tail whip her and Jeff can fling her, and, you know, Baskin Robbins can slow her attack speed, you know, by walking near her with Runic Shield, they didn't have anything to do. Right
back at the start of the game, Adjust for me played fantastically this game. We can see this first pickup of First Blood, but we did see the fight on the other side of the up straight after. I love the way that he pushed him out of the tower, so he didn't continue taking tower shots.
It was just such a clean kill. He knew that Baskin had no options. He did exactly what he should have done. That was the most textbook kill that we've seen from a Serqet in months.
And a great play from Enemy overall, but they don't win the game. It's Cloud9 that come out on top. With a 10,000 gold deficit, they won that game.
I can't even believe it. Was more than 10. It was like 14 or something crazy.
Minimum 10,000 gold deficit there.
And it's not like it got any better.
Who do you reckon got a player of the game then? Because we always give it to the winners.
I mean, it's got to be Stealth.
Stealth.
Was it Stealth?
On that new Y, he was indeed 7, 3, and 7, I believe is his tagline.
You know, I thought the fire shards were going to kill at the end, and he chose to save them. And I was just like, I can't believe he was so patient. And then when he finally does use them, Adjust goes down to 1 hit and Khaos dies. And once Khaos died, that was it. Because I think it was the mid laner battle.
I agree.
If Enemy won that was 100% Khaos. For MLC Stealth to understand who his major target was, and in a moment of panic, not try to kill the Serqet that started the game so strong, and to focus on the true problem, I mean, that's why he's the world champion.
And the more and more I watch Enemy play, the more and more I'm hearing the name Khaos, I'm hearing the name Adjust now. Those two on that team are really putting the pressure on. Obviously, we already knew PainDeViande already. He's been around for a long time.
Look at Stealth right there. He actually hits an auto attack to get the root, right? Then he throws down the fog and roots him inside of it. Like, that is the level of nuwa play that is necessary. This is the game-winning
ultimate.
Bang. Khaos dies, and that's just GG. They rushed the... I can't believe that they won that game.
Well, especially when you got clay minions as well, just to help tank the tower if you need to, just to bring it down as well.
And, you know, people always ask, you know, what's the difference between losing a game and throwing a game? That was the difference. That was a throw.
I want to know what you guys did on Alpha Draft, because let's have a look at those points there, because this one should be backwards and forwards between the two teams, actually. And for the most part, well, it's mixed up.
PainDeViande support player finds himself in 4th place. Khaos riding the bottom there with MLC Stealth, of course, taking the top thanks to those fire shards.
And Adjust was in the mix too. Obviously, we pointed him out during that game for Enemy. A good performance from him too. But Cloud9 take it. That was only game 1.